Hello, Jeff Sawyer with JNS Solutions here. This week's video, we're going to talk about proper coaching techniques. Okay, they're basically 5 steps to do a good coaching technique, to a good coaching session on one of your employees or associates, whatever you want to refer to them as. The whole purpose of coaching is to improve them. Okay, I know I've done a lot of videos on the bottom 10%, top 10%, bottom 10%, to either step them up or step them out. Well, the whole purpose of everything in life is to step them up. You've already spent your time training them, whether it's good or bad. You spent your time training them. You want to make sure that they can continue on with that, and you've already invested that time and energy. So they do have some level of comfort inside your organization, and they've also got some knowledge level that can aid them over a new hire. So your goal is always just to step them up. But if they can't, then they got to step out. Okay, and you move on to the next one. So in these proper coaching techniques, there are basically 5 things you want to remember. The first one is behavioral or productive. Basically what that means is there are 2 ways you're going to write somebody up or coach someone, okay? And it's basically, is it a behavioral problem, such as rudeness to customers, to employees, bad attitude, complaining all the time in meetings, bringing the level of the staff down with their morale, constant complainer, or is it productive? Productive is a number that you can measure. Tardiness is a productive. Not getting freight put up fast enough is a production. Not scanning items as a cashier fast enough is not a production, because those all have measurable goals that you can do about it. Not meeting sales quotas can also be a productive thing, because they all have a measurable goal to it, and that way it's always documented. Okay, when you got production and you got behavioral and you got production, you want to keep the 2 separate when it comes to coaching. Okay, so if you're doing a second written on someone for behavioral and then they don't make sales quotas, you can't make that the 3rd. Okay, you have to start all over with that one, with starting off. I like to use what's called progressive coaching, which means you're going to start off with a verbal. Then you're going to go to a first written, second written, third written. Maybe that 3rd written could be a termination. If that's somewhere in that point of the game, you're going to be wanting to get close to it. Somewhere around that 3rd. No more than 4. Okay, your 4th should be pretty much a termination. Here again, if you do things right, you've always got that 4th as an out to hopefully do one last try if you believe in the person. It all depends on what the circumstances are. Okay, so are there previous records? That's some information you need to gather. You need to get their records. You need to get their file. You need to look through it. How long have they been with the company? Where should they be at? Is it is this an issue you've already talked to them about it before? If so, what level did you talk to them about it? Was it a verbal? Was it a first written? Was it a second written? I do a thing called note to file whenever I have any type of conversation with somebody, even if it's just, hey, you did a great job, and by the way, good note to files are really handy when it comes time to doing a review. Okay, there are also negative note to files, which when they do something wrong, but it could just be something simple like they misled a customer in a certain way. You overheard the conversation, customer bought what they wanted and left happy. Okay, but you know that there's something, they didn't quite tell them something right. You can just document that down. Hey, have the conversation with them on the sales floor, in their cubicle, in their work environment. Okay, it's not so serious. It's a teaching and learning experience. But I'd write down a note to file, and I'd just drop in a little file under this. That does not go in the personnel file. You have to keep the 2 separate. Okay, personnel files can be taken and not taken, but they can be requested by courts of different types. And you always want to leave just nothing but pure documentation in there. If you do a written on somebody, it has to go in there. A verbal would go into the note to file. Okay, so but you can always document on the legit verbal on your written on such and such date. That's always a good way of doing that. Okay, so next comes up is witnesses. So we talked about the previous records, what level you want to write them up at, and now we want to talk about witnesses. It's very important you have a witness in there just in case, so it can't become a he said, she said concept in front of a judge. Okay? It's for your protection. Have a witness in there. Witness rules, okay? They cannot be a subordinate or an equal to peer. They have to be someone above their level. One of their supervisors, supervisor, an HR person, someone else other than their equal. Okay, So look at your business and look at it and go, okay, who's above them out there? Even if it is, I hate to do it, but if it's a small business, bring your spouse in. It's got to be somebody that's going to keep confidence, okay? But it can't be the guy that they go out and work with every day, or the girl they go out and work with. It can't be that person, because then they'll have things to talk about, and you don't want that talking about it, okay? So then it comes down to closing and set up expectations. Closing is basically, it's all over. We've had the conversations. Do you understand? This is what's going to happen to you if it proceeds. It's going to be either the next write-up, or it's going to be that next session could be a termination, depending on where you're at. Okay? I have looked people in the eyes, and I always ask them, so what's going to be the next level if this continues? And they'll tell me, I'm going to be written up again, or you're going to terminate me. If I tell them that, I want to hear it come out of their mouth. I want them to fully, and I want to know they understand what the next level is and the seriousness of it, okay? All coaching levels, every time you go to the next level, the conversation gets more stern, okay? I don't want the first one to be half-hearted and lighthearted and all that, but I want it to be kind of easy. We're just talking about it right now, you know? You can't do this. You know, the second conversation, you can never do this again. The third conversation will be, why do you keep doing this? It's got to get more stern every time. It's got to get a little more uncomfortable in there, okay? This has to be behind closed doors with your one witness. The person that's being coached is always closest to the door, so if they ever want to get up and walk out, it's their prerogative to do that. They don't have to sit there. They can do that. You don't want to encumber that, and they want to have easy access in case they feel the need to leave, okay? But if they get up and walk out, one of the questions you need to ask them is hey, if you leave, you're leaving. You won't work here anymore. So you need to sit down and deal with this, or you're going to walk out. It's your choice. You walk out, I consider that your resignation. And they need to know that as they're heading out the door. Okay? But you always have to leave them that out. You don't tell them about that out. It's just if they decide to get up and start walking, that's the conversation you have. Is, hey, look, this is a situation we need to deal with. If you're not willing to deal with it today, I'm going to take you walking out. Here's your resignation. That's all you say. You let them go. If they walk on out, you write down, I told them as they were leaving, and then you put that in their file. Okay? So that's kind of the basic principles of all of it. Some good things, a really good, easy thing to remember is what, why. Okay? Just remember what, why. This is what you did. This is what I need you to do. And this is why. If you always explain to them why you want them to do it a certain way, then they'll likely, like anybody who understands something wants to do it the right way, right? We all do. It's human nature. So you want to appeal to that human nature side and get them on your side. Your goal with the coaching is always to get them on your side. You want to win them over. You want them to go out to be the best employee they can be. You want them to go from the bottom 10% to the top 10%. That's your goal, because you've already spent your time, energy of hiring, recruiting, training. Now you got to make sure they get out there and they do a great job for you. Some will, some won't. It's up to the person. When it comes to tardiness problems, people are chronically late, and I terminate people of them. I've never seen anybody correct it. I don't get it, and I don't know why, but I've never seen anybody correct it. But whatever that situation is, your goal of this is to make darn sure that when they walk out of there, they know what they did wrong. They want to know why, how you want it done, or the way you want it done, and then they also want to know what the next step's going to be. So, and it's very important you communicate that well with them. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can always email me at jssawyersolutions@gmail.com. And if you have a question you want me to do a video on, shoot that to me too. I'll be happy to do some videos for people. Most of these videos come because of the coaching sessions I've just done with entrepreneurs that are having issues with their people. So if you have any emails or questions you want to see a video on, I'd be happy to do that for you. I do one a week, and we'll break them down. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And thanks. Have a great day.